Morning, sleepyhead.
Freaks like old lady pants in here.
There's sort of like a Deadpool core creative collective that has managed this for the last 6 years, and that's Tim Miller, that's Rhett Reese, that's Paul Wernick, and me as well. We've just been sort of developing it slowly but surely over those years.
Our agent presented us with a comic and said that Fox is gonna try and reinvent the character after what happened with Wolverine.
I'm gonna do this the old-fashioned way, with 2 swords and maximum effort.
Deadpool's a character that really spoke to us. He's a very complex anti-hero, caught in a shame spiral, self-deprecating, kind of self-loathing, and they say, you know, write what you know, so we really latched onto it.
We originally pitched a non-origin story, interestingly, just a Deadpool adventure. And we pitched to Ryan Reynolds, and he enjoyed the pitch, but he was pretty emphatic about the fact that it had to be an origin story. So ultimately what happened was we kind of melded the two.
If you think about it, it's a Canadian mercenary with lead pipe cruelty, and he's morally flexible, and he's got cancer, and he's hideously scarred. And these are all sort of items that a lot of studios wouldn't necessarily be anxious to put up on the screen.
Looks are everything. You ever heard David Beckham speak? It's like he mouth-sexed a can of helium. Think Ryan Reynolds got this far on his superior acting method?
Ryan Reynolds, as the ambassador of Deadpool, is just winning the fans over every day. Every day. He just gets it. He's got that rogue, badass quality. He's just got that lip. He's just so quick with the quips. He was like sexiest man in the world. He has a huge female following.
My freshman year of high school, I may or may not have photoshopped myself into a picture with Ryan. I was really obsessed with Ryan for a good while. Like, his name is on like the walls in my childhood room, like big graffiti, Ryan Reynolds.
Brianna mentioned that she used to have Photoshop pictures of me. Yeah, she did mention something about that. And then we awkwardly moved past it.
Ryan was born to play this role. His personality and his DNA is really infused in this character.
This character of Deadpool was just made from heaven for Ryan Reynolds, or Ryan was made for it. Either way, there is something about Deadpool that accesses the entire range of Ryan Reynolds. The comedy, the romance, the action, things that most actors, when they're lucky, can do 1 or maybe 2 of. But Ryan actually does have the ability to do all of those things.
Red really is my color.
He's got this boy next door, nice guy look about him, and he really is that guy. He's literally the nicest guy I've ever met, but he's also nasty.
This isn't a duplex. It's chlamydia holding still.
Was that improv?
There, sir.
God.
He's got this sort of edgy bit of humor that is very 12-year-old juvenile kid in a locker room.
People say, kiss the girl, crack a joke, and shoot a gun. And Deadpool/Wade does all those things in the movie, and Ryan does too.
Yeah, like I got bit by a radioactive Shar-Pei.
In issue number 2 of Cable and Deadpool, which came out in 2004, I had Deadpool describe himself as looking like a Shar-Pei crossed with Ryan Reynolds. Boo! So I feel like I actually originally cast Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
Andre, take half a step to your left. A regular person, half a step.
When Tim came on, we just knew from right at the beginning he was the perfect guy for this. He got the comic book world. He understands it. He lives in that world.
Tim just kind of has a bit of that Wade Wilson acerbic attitude in him, and he sort of speaks, moves, and talks like that. And I think it really helped him access the character, and he really kind of understood the character.
You see it in the wide. In this shot that we've got lined up now, you see the swords in their position.
When Tim came in, Fox wanted Tim to prove that he could make this movie, essentially.
You know, a guy who doesn't have any film credits, that's like trying to get a credit card for the first time without having any credit. It's tough. So you have to show them in some way. You have to give them some sort of living, breathing, 3-dimensional proof.
So what he did was he took the fight inside the SUV, which was in the screenplay, and he created a 2-minute piece that captured that fight from start to finish. And it was just phenomenal.
Let's hope these guys are wearing their brown pants.
It was a proof of concept both in terms of the techniques that he wanted to use in order to make this film, which were pretty revolutionary. But on top of that, it really encapsulated the spirit of Deadpool, the tone, the comedy, and Ryan's voice.
Hola,
me llamo Piscina de la Muerta. Test footage was never meant for the eyes of anyone other than studio executives at Fox, and was meant to just be a loose example of what we could do with this character and how we could kind of bring him to life.
It didn't convince Fox at the time to make the movie, so it sat there for a long time.
The writers, Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese, and the director, Tim Miller, and Ryan, reached out to me directly. The title of the email was Deadpool Needs Your Ass, and then inside the email it said assistance, completing the word ass. Will you reach out to the studio and give us some support?
There have been a lot of talk about, can you even do an X-Men movie that is R-rated rather than PG-13? And I know that they wanted to be able to protect the tone of Deadpool, but still see if you could do a slightly softer version.
I'm touching myself tonight.
So there were just more months or even years that went by without the movie getting made.
In the middle of Comic-Con, I think it was 2 years ago, Tim was at Comic-Con, and as he was driving home, the footage somehow leaked.
And the internet did what it does at its best, which is it blew up.
It showed people that it's possible to put Deadpool on the screen the right way, and to put Deadpool on the screen in a way that is totally congruent with the comic. And that really created an uprising to some degree.
It ended up becoming a real rallying cry for the fans out there when they saw exactly what Tim and Ryan were trying to do.
The noise they made on social media was huge. It was huge for us, and they made enough noise for long enough that it didn't feel like a moment in time or a little bit of a fad. They sustained that roar for months.
I think the fans being overwhelmingly supportive of this take on the character, which is different than past takes on the character, really helps the studio feel like they're making the right decision when they okay a film like this, because it's risky.
There's a very short list of suspects who might have leaked it on the internet. Paul and I are probably on that list, but we did not do it.
When the test footage did leak, we all called each other, own up, we won't tell anyone. And I was like, no. So I still bust Tim's balls saying that he's the one that leaked the test footage, but he swears that's not true.
I think it's just one of those things where you want to connect with the fans early on. So the fans really made me feel comfortable with what we were planning to do.
There's a huge fan base already built in for Deadpool. They're the reason we're here making this movie. And I don't say that in any sort of hyperbolic way. That's a fact. They've been the largest catalyst to us making Deadpool.
Everyone on this Deadpool team really understands that world and the tone that we're trying to get. And I think it's a rare thing.
All of us are on set every minute of the day, and we've all been here watching this thing come to life slowly but surely.